I think there are really big movements around the world in terms of trade, in terms of economies and so on, that are all to do with the supply chain. One of the biggest impacts you've seen in Asia is that businesses that used to be located absolutely right next door to their customer can now be located at the other side of the world. When you think about things like spare parts, if you were making machinery and the machinery broke down, how do you get a spare part because my business stops while the machinery stops? And it used to be the supplier had to be right next door. They had to get that stuff to you within seconds, within a couple of hours. Now we can do that across the world. And that's what the supply chain has done. The efficiency of moving of goods means that customers in North America or customers in Europe can be dependent upon manufacturers in Asia. And that's one of the biggest changes I think you've seen in recent times.
Well, the whole idea behind supply chain connectivity was to make sure that trade logistics cost for trade logistics would come down. And so in terms of benefits for business, we were looking at several different areas along the supply chain, from manufacturer to end user, where we could make processes more efficient, documentation more efficient and recognizable between economies, and all that amounts to cost for businesses. So therefore, the supply chain connectivity framework was really meant to address that.
We have 8 choke points, and under each one of the choke points we have a list of many activities and measures that we are working to improve the supply chains in the region. So I'm just going to mention briefly some of them. So for instance, last year we endorsed a pathfinder to establish a de minimis framework in the region. So this year what we are doing is to foster the widening of the participation in this scheme. It entails that the economies that join the Pathfinder will exempt or eliminate duties to imports that are under 100 value, and also they will benefit from streamlined customs procedures, so facilitating the entrance of these imports in APEC economies.
What we've found, first of all, with ASEAN and now particularly with APEC, is that if you can talk to everybody together, if you can get everybody in the same room and say, listen guys, this affects all of you, and one man's ceiling is another man's floor, you are all connected to each other one way or the other, let's all talk about this issue, you can really see progress. And the biggest one we've seen was on de minimis, where honestly I can't tell you how long we've been working on this, getting nowhere. Then finally in Honolulu at the end of last year, we got an agreement for a Pathfinder program on de minimis, and that is huge progress as far as we're concerned, and I think it only could have happened with APEC. And given you've got United States, Japan, China, Russia, 4 of the biggest economies in the world, all part of APEC, really gives it weight, it gives it influence, and it gives it strength.